Good morning and welcome to yet another online tutorial on microwaves and antenna. So we are in module 1 and we have been studying about standing wave, voltage standing wave, and we derived the magnitude and phase expressions of voltage standing wave. Right. Today what we'll do is we'll continue with that. So when I say, I think I would like to make a clarification. I was telling only about voltage standing wave. So when I say voltage standing wave, there will also be a current standing wave. Right. So I'm not, even though I'm not discussing anything about a current standing wave. So similarly, how we have proceeded and derived the expression for magnitude of voltage, similarly we can derive an expression for current. That I'm not doing, right? But you can do it on your own. I'm sure if you are able to appreciate whatever discussion is happening on voltage, you will be able to extend it straight away to the current as well. Right. So I'm not discussing that. But before we start with today's discussion, we'll just see this man in simulation and start. Right. So what we were discussing is a transmission line will have forward propagating wave, and if it is perfectly matched, right? So please do note down these points, right? So please do listen to these points carefully, right? So we have discussed a lot of things in last class. I'm going to summarize everything, right? So if you are asked to write about say a standing wave or standing wave ratio in exam, right? This is what you are supposed to write, right? So if we have a transmission line which is properly matched, what will happen is the entire power incident will be delivered to the load. If it is not properly matched, that is ZL is not equal to Z naught, what will happen is, right, a part of the power will be delivered to the load and remaining part will be reflected back. So that reflection, so the incident wave, I'm showing it as green and reflected wave as red, right? So when these two waves are existing together, they'll superimpose, right? So these are two different sinusoids. When two different sinusoids get added with each other, it will result in a new sinusoid, right? So that new sinusoid, that is actually called a standing wave, right? That is actually called a standing wave. But don't get confused. The simulation what we are seeing now in this, we can see a wave which is a function of time and phase. But whatever maths we had written, it was only for space, right? We were not considering time effect. So in fact, if we take a snapshot at time t equal to 0, what will happen, right? That is what we have seen mathematically, right? So the standing wave is nothing but what, when incident and reflected wave superimpose, we'll get a standing wave. So at any given time, if you take a snapshot and move along the line of transmission line, right, you can see the magnitudes, right? The magnitude of the sinusoid, it will change, right? It will change. It will, in fact, it will actually what? It will go from maxima to minima, then to maxima, again to minima. It will repeat, right? So that is what is standing wave. So with that note, what we'll do is I'll just summarize all the results, right? So standing wave and standing wave ratio. Standing wave ratio, I am writing it as actually what? SWR, right? So what we have learned is voltage, it will have incident voltage. I am writing everything again so that you will be able to recollect it. It's very, very important topic, right? V plus e power minus alpha z e power minus j beta z. This entire thing is incident wave plus v minus e power alpha z e power j beta z. This is reflected wave. So incident wave and reflected wave, right? Both are there. So here we have shown both of them as separate terms. But if we can write it as a single phasor, v0 e power minus j phi, this is actually called the standing wave expression, phasor expression for standing wave, right? So this is incident wave, this is reflected wave. But this expression, if we can add two phases and write it as a single phasor, right? This is called expression for standing wave. And this one will be magnitude pattern, V0 will be magnitude pattern, and phi will be phase pattern. That is what we have seen in last class, and we also derived what is V naught, right? I'm just trying to summarize what we have learned in last class so that I can move ahead to the next topics, right? So what was V naught, right? V naught, right? I'll write it. If please correct me if I am wrong. V naught is V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z square times cos square beta z plus V plus e power alpha z e power minus, sorry, I'll just excuse me, V plus e power alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z the whole square times sine square beta z to the power half, right? This is V naught, and phi was nothing but what? Tan inverse. Please correct me if I am wrong. At times I may intentionally make some mistakes. If you are not correcting, I'll go ahead with that. So then entire thing what we'll be discussing will be wrong, right? So V plus e power, so it should have been minus, I'm sorry, V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z divided by V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z times tan of beta z. So this is magnitude and this is phase. Then what we have done is, after that what we have done is we found the minima and maxima, right? So the minima and maxima for alpha equal to 0 and alpha not equal to 0, right? So I'll write, or else I'll write maxima and then I'll write minima. Right. So please excuse me. Okay, fine. I'll write maxima value of that was V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z, and it occurred for all beta z is equal to n pi, or in other words, it will occur for all z is equal to n lambda by 2, where n is equal to 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2, etc. Right? And so minima, this is the value of maxima, right? And it happens for all beta z is equal to n pi, or z is equal to n lambda by 2, right? And similarly, minima, the value was V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z, and it occurred for all beta z is equal to 2n minus 1 times pi by 2, or else you can easily show that this occurs for z is equal to 2n minus 1 times lambda by 4, where again n is equal to 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2, etc. Right? So this part we didn't do, but you can straight away find that 2n minus 1, beta z is 2n minus 1 pi by 2. If you substitute beta is equal to 2 pi by lambda, then you find z, you will get this, right? So it's not a big deal, right? You will be able to do it, right? So this again we observed, right? This again we observed. This is maxima and this is minima. Then what we did is we plotted variation of magnitude, right, with respect to z, right? So initially for alpha equal to 0, how did we plot this? For alpha equal to 0, right, I'll take another color, right? Okay. For alpha equal to 0, right? So this is V max and this is V min. So if alpha is equal to 0, we found V max is equal to V plus V minus, and V min is V plus minus v minus, sorry, right, v plus minus v minus, right. And we found separation between maxima as lambda by 2, and similarly it would have been actually what I would have drawn it something like this. Right. I would have drawn it like a wave or whatever, but it's okay, no problem. Right. Not it's actually okay. Maybe I'll throw a new one. Okay, but you may be remembering. Right. So it goes through maxima and minima. So separation between maxima is lambda by 2, and separation between minima will be lambda by 2, and separation between maxima and minima will be lambda by 4. Right. So similarly, for alpha not equal to 0, that is a lossy line, what happens is, we have seen, right, it looks almost like this. Right. So what this is, Vmax is this curve, right? Vmax is this curve, and Vmin is the bottom curve, right? So Vmax will be V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z, and Vmin is V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z, right? So because of this alpha z factor, we can see the maximum values of the standing wave peak, right? It is actually what, decreasing. So this is for a lossy line, and this is for a lossless line, right? This we have seen for a lossy line. So this is equal to, z is equal to 0, and as z increases, right, z increases in this, and along y-axis it is magnitude pattern. So we are not that much interested in the phase pattern. We are interested in magnitude pattern, right? So now I'll quickly show one MATLAB simulation of this, right? We'll just verify, right? What are we going to do is, right? Of course, I'll give it to you as an assignment also, right? I won't share this code, right? So what are we going to do is, we are going to simulate this particular expression, magnitude expression in MATLAB, right? So alpha, beta, right, z, all those steps we are going to simulate this, and we are going to plot it with respect to z, right? So that is what we are going to do now, right? So I'll just MATLAB, okay, continue working. So I have written this code here, right? So I'll just, now I have considered alpha equal to 0. So if alpha, so please remember, for this simulation I am considering v plus is 5 and v minus is 2.5, right? Maybe that as well I'll write, right? So we also obtained one expression, right? Maximum and minimum value, we obtained expressions, right? So this can be written as v plus e power minus alpha z into 1 plus mode of gamma, right? We have seen this, I think, and this can be written as v plus e power minus alpha z into 1 minus mode of gamma, right? This also, so v minus is nothing but what, gamma times v plus, right? V minus is gamma times v plus. So what I did is, I defined v plus to be equal to 5 and gamma as 0.5. So in this case, v minus is going to be 2.5, right? So as per that, for a lossless line, right? For a lossless line, if v plus is 5 and v minus is 2.5, I should get maximum to be equal to 7.5 and minimum to be equal to 5 minus 2.5, that is 2.5, right? Please observe, are we getting this? And also, if I consider, say, some number of waves, so you should also verify this spacing between maxima or spacing between minima, they are lambda by 2, right? That's what you have to verify from the simulation. I have already written the code, right? I'm just running this. I'm using MATLAB online to simulate this. So please wait for, yeah, now you can see, yeah. So this is the distance from source and z, and this is actually what, magnitude of v naught, right? Or v naught, magnitude of v naught as such, right? So you can see the maximum, right? So the first maxima occurs at n pi, that if n is equal to 0, first maxima occurs at actually what, 0, then you can see it changes. And what is the value of maxima? It is 7.5, and value of minima is actually what? 2.5. And here I have considered, right, Z I have considered 3 wavelength long, right, from 0 to 3 wavelength. So this is actually what frequency I have considered to be 1 gigahertz. So if frequency is 1 gigahertz, let's just calculate. If f is equal to 1 gigahertz, what will be lambda? Lambda will be equal to C by F. So can anyone tell me? We have calculated it many times. What is C for 1 gigahertz? What is the lambda? Is it 30 centimeter? Can anyone verify this? For f is equal to 1 gigahertz, and if C is equal to 3 into 10 power 8, what is lambda? Please verify this. I think it should be 30 centimeter. Is it? I think you are typing it in chat window. No one is typing it in chat window as well. Maybe Saturdays people don't entertain questions, right? So I should simply teach. That only will work. Is it? Yeah. So lambda is 30 centimeters. So here you can see maximum value we verified. At maximum was 7.5. Minimum was actually what? 2.5. And if you see, first maxima happens at actually what? 0. Second maxima at Z is equal to lambda by 2. And third at 3 lambda by, lambda, and fourth at actually what? 3 lambda by 2, so on and so forth. Right. And separate minima, first minima occurs at actually what? Lambda by 4. You can observe it here. So whatever we have derived, I just wanted to verify using the simulation it is correct, right? This is for alpha equal to 0, and for alpha equal to 0 you can see throughout this maxima value is constant, right? It's V plus V minus and V plus minus V minus. Throughout it is constant. Now I'll increase value of alpha. Say I'll make alpha to be equal to 0.3 simply, right? I'll make alpha to be equal to 0.3. Then please observe what is happening. Now you can see, you can very clearly see minima is actually what? Not along a straight line. It's decreasing as Z increases, and even maxima is also actually what? Decreasing as Z increases. It's the same. It's what is happening, right? In practice, right? So yesterday we predicted it, but through simulation we actually what? Verified it, right? So here again separation between peaks will be same, right? Here, as there is e power alpha Z term is not getting to unity, right? So here this maxima variation is there, right? So okay, that's it. I just wanted to tell, right? Then yeah, next today what we'll do is I'll just ask you to write. So in V0, in the expression for V0, right? What if V plus is not equal to 0 and V minus is 0, which implies, right, no reflection, right? No reflection or matched transmission line, or ZL equal to Z0. So what happens to this V0? This is a, right, homework, or I won't ask you this, but if in case it's asked for exam, you should be able to what? Find out. So you'll be able to easily find, right? So this V0 will reduce to what? V plus e power minus alpha Z in this case, right? So case 1, for a matched line, V0 will reduce to V plus e power minus alpha Z. V0 is nothing but what? Magnitude, right? 1 second. And similarly, the second case is, what if the reverse, right? That reverse case, second case, if I ask V plus is 0 and V minus is not equal to 0. So this is actually what, simply for the name of argument, we are coming up with this case. But if source is 0, then there won't be any reflection. But mathematically speaking, if V plus is 0 and V minus is non-zero, what will happen? That is the next question. Right. And third case, this is actually very important. This is actually called the case of a pure standing wave. Right. Case of a pure standing. If someone is asking you what is a pure standing wave, so a pure standing wave is obtained when positive and negative and V plus is equal to V minus. Right. When V plus is equal to V minus, which implies if it is actually what, a perfect open circuit or a perfect short circuit. Right. If it is a perfect open circuit or a perfect short circuit, we will get a pure standing wave. Right. We will get a pure standing wave. So we'll see what is that. So before I show you that in Imanim, right? Okay. Initially I'll show you that in Imanim. Then I'll show you a video. Right. So what is the case? Now wave 1, wave 2, forward propagating wave amplitude is 7, reverse propagating wave amplitude is 4. Now I would like everyone to closely observe this and tell me, right? So now once again I'll repeat, right? So green is forward propagating wave, red is reverse propagating wave, right? So here intentionally I have assumed the magnitude of reverse propagating wave less than forward propagating wave, assuming a part is delivered to the load, right? And when these two are getting added, right? So there are two sinusoids, right? When they interfere or when they superimpose, we'll get a resultant sinusoid, right? So my question is, so we are getting a resultant sinusoid here. The wave 1 plus wave 2, right? That standing wave which I told, how do you feel it? Is it standing still, or is it moving from left to right, or is it moving from right to left? I need everyone to make comment. I'll just increase the animation rate. How do you find it? Is it actually what, becoming maximum and minimum at the same position, or else it is moving from left to right, or else it is moving from right to left, right? So today this is a question for your attendance, right? So please do respond, right? What do you feel? Whether it is standing still, do you think it's moving from left to right or right to left? Effective movement. You observe this and tell, right? Please start typing in chat window. I'll consider the response to this question as attendance. Just observe. I'm getting different answers. Standing still, moving from left to right. Yeah, others also. Please do type in. Please type in. Everyone. Okay, for you to see, I'll just. Right. So I can see majority are typing left to right, left to right. In between, I can see some standing still. Right. So the correct answer is, right, you should feel it is moving from left to right. You should feel it is moving from left to right. If you see closely, the peak of standing wave will be actually what, moving along with peak of our green wave, right? So there is a reason for that. There is a reason, even though we call it standing wave, right? So these, when magnitude of positive and negative, forward and reverse propagating are not same, we don't call it a pure standing wave, right? So what we call is, so in fact what happens here is, here there is some load is not perfectly matched, so you can see green amplitude is more, right? So this is actually what power incident power. A part of the incident power is delivered to the load and remaining power is reflected back, right? Remaining power is reflected back. So a part is delivered and remaining is reflected back. So if you consider effective power transfer, it is happening from left to right. I'll repeat, if you consider effective power transfer, it is happening from left to right. So that is why you feel like this standing wave is moving from left to right. Like, in fact, you feel like standing wave is moving from left to right. So when magnitudes are different, right? So now you just, if I reduce this magnitude to what 3 and this I increase, just see what happens. Now, is it reversed? Now is it reversed? Why? Because net power flow is from right to left in this case. So we are finding standing wave was actually what? Slowly moving from right to left. But what if we make both the magnitudes same? Incident and reflected magnitudes are same. Now you observe what is happening. Whether it is left to right, right to left, or standing still. Now we have to type. In this case, whether it is left to right, right to left, or standing still. In this case, what I did is I made incident and reflected amplitudes the same. This is called a pure standing wave. Right? This is what we will get if you tie a rope to one end and if we actually move the other end with some velocity, right? Up and down, right? This is what you will observe, right? Yeah. So tell me what is the answer for this. Now, yeah, all of you are able to appreciate it standing still, but it has to stand still. Why? Because, right, some power is incident and same power is reflected back. So in effect, actually what, there is no net power flow. It is just resonating, right? It acts as a resonator, right? There is no net power flow. It's actually what, it's oscillating. The voltage is actually what, oscillating here and there. It acts as a resonator, right? It's something like an, actually what, if you are to tell an analogy, it's like an LC tank circuit, right? If resistance is completely zero, right? If you charge a capacitor and connect it to an inductor, what will happen? It has to oscillate, right? So similarly, this is called a pure standing wave. So that is the case, right? So that is the case. So when this pure standing wave we'll get when V plus is V minus, that is whatever is incident, same thing is reflected back. When that will happen? For perfect open circuit or perfect short circuit, right? If you make a perfect open circuit, perfect short circuit, what will happen is voltage at this end will be zero, right? You may get a standing wave like this, right? And current standing wave will be actually what? Something like this. I'll draw with some different color. Current standing wave will be something like this, right? For a short circuit. And for an open circuit, when it is open circuit, what will happen? Voltage will be maximum. So, okay, sorry, right? I'll take green for voltage and red for. Right. So if it is an open circuit, what happens? Voltage will be maximum at load and it will change like this. And at open circuit, current will be zero. So current standing wave will be something like this. Current standing wave will be something like this, right? At the load end, it will be zero. So, right, maybe I'll include this question in an assignment, right, about this, right? So I just told you that, that's it. So if it is, what is a pure standing wave then? So when a transmission line is completely open circuit or short circuit, right? When this pure, when that is V plus and V minus are same, so then we'll get, right, Vs, right? We'll get the standing wave equation. V is equal to, right? I am asking you to prove this, I'll write the expression. It is equal to 2v plus e power minus alpha z cos beta z. Right. When the positive and negative waves are same, so the v will be in this form, right? 2v plus e power minus alpha z cos beta z. This is actually called a pure standing wave, right? This is called a pure standing wave. So this will be true even if I introduce some alpha, right? Even if I introduce some attenuation constant, this will be a pure standing wave. We'll see that. We'll see that. What if I introduce some attenuation constant, right? I'm introducing. So now you feel this is standing still, right? Now I'll introduce some extinction coefficient for both. In this case again, you can see it will be actually what? Standing still. Maybe you will find actually what within the boundaries, you may find it is appearing what here, it is slightly moving here and there, but net power flow will be 0. I increased alpha in one direction. Yeah. 1 second. Right. See, even now it is actually what? Pure standing wave. So, irrespective of what is the value of alpha, if v plus is equal to v minus, right, then that is called a pure standing wave, right? So that is called a pure standing. I'll show you a video. I'll show you a video, right? Maybe you might have seen this. This is actually not related to electromagnetism, right, or voltage and current standing wave. It is actually what a standing wave which is established on a string which is tied to one end. So you can see a professor holding a string in a string in his hand, and there is actually what someone who is helping out by holding it very firm to his hand, right? So we'll see what happens. Just
for this demonstration, I have my able assistant Parker. Parker's admiring audience, and we will be demonstrating transverse standing waves. I'll also demonstrate traveling transverse waves. Here's a traveling wave, starting the wave by creating a disturbance here with my hand that is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave. And up and down, see that the spring travels from the front. So then a standing wave is where you pick a frequency that matches the length of the string in such a way that the waves created from my side of the string and bouncing off the partners coincide with each other and reinforce each other.
right. So I think audio is not audible to you, right? So I'll just tell you what is happening. Right. So when the professor is actually what moving this spring up and down, so he's getting actually what one standing wave. Now this is actually what first mode, right? First mode. So now if he increase the rate of vibration, so he'll get this second mode. So now you can see actually what two half waves here, right? Two half waves here. So this is actually what second mode. So this is actually what a pure standing wave. So here some vibration is actually what propagating from left to right, and here as the student is holding this spring very firmly, right? So whatever be the vibration, that has to go to 0 here, and it is getting reflected back. So when the incident and reflected vibrations on the string, when they are getting added together, we are getting a standing wave. So that is actually the video. Maybe I'll share the link in Canvas. You can see it later, right? So I just wanted to give you a idea. That is actually what pure standing wave, right? So we are seeing a pure standing wave. So we know what is a pure standing wave now, right? So next topic is, right, what is voltage standing wave ratio, right? Next topic is voltage standing wave ratio, right? So with this discussion, we'll move on to the next parameter, that is standing wave ratio. Standing wave ratio, we'll represent it as actually what? Rho. Right, we'll represent it as rho. Right, the standing wave ratio is defined as V max modulus of, right, magnitude of V max divided by magnitude of V min. That is V plus e power minus alpha z plus V minus e power alpha z divided by V plus e power minus alpha z minus V minus e power alpha z. Right. So this is actually what standing wave ratio. Right. This is a ratio of maximum to minimum in a standing wave. So if you see this MATLAB simulation, right? If you see the MATLAB simulation, I'll just make the 0. So, or right, I'll just make the 0. Alpha, I'll make 0 and I'll simulate again. Right, alpha can be anything. It's not a problem. Right. So what happens is, right, it is a ratio of maximum to minimum. So here maximum is 7.5, minimum is 2.5. So what is the standing wave ratio? It is 7.5 divided by 2.5. So the voltage standing wave ratio is 3. Right. That is standing wave ratio. Right. So, and this is also equal to what? I max by I min. Right. This is also equal to I max by I min. So I didn't mention this. This is also same. Right. So now, normally in exam they used to ask, obtain the expression for standing wave ratio in terms of gamma. Right. So what actually is gamma, reflection coefficient? You know, gamma is V plus e power minus gamma z divided by V minus, sorry, it should be V minus, right? I'm sorry, please excuse me, right? So gamma reflection coefficient is V reflected by V incident, right? That is equal to V minus e power alpha z e power j beta z divided by V plus e power minus alpha z e power minus j beta z, right? So that is right, gamma, right? And what will be magnitude of gamma? So it's actually what, r angle theta, r1 angle theta 1 divided by r2 angle theta 2, right? So this is r1 and this is actually what, r2. This is theta 1, this is theta 2. So what will be magnitude? Magnitude will be r1 by r2. That is actually what, v1 e power alpha z divided by, sorry, v minus, v minus e power alpha z divided by v plus e power minus alpha z, right? This is mode of gamma. So I can write v minus e power alpha z as mode of gamma into v plus e power minus alpha z, right? So I can write this. I can write v minus e power alpha z as v plus e power minus alpha z into mode of gamma. So I can substitute this in equation of rho. So I'll write the equation of rho once again. So the voltage standing wave ratio, right, someone was trying to join in. Yeah. So the voltage standing wave ratio, right, that is rho is equal to v plus e power minus gamma z plus v minus e power alpha z divided by v plus e power minus alpha z minus v minus e power alpha z. So if I substitute v minus e power alpha z as mode of gamma into v plus e power minus alpha z, I will get this is equal to v plus e power minus alpha z plus mode of gamma into v plus e power minus alpha z divided by v plus e power minus alpha z minus mode of gamma into sorry I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. V plus e power minus alpha z only, right? V plus e power minus alpha z, right? So this is v plus e power minus alpha z only, right? So we will get this is equal to v plus e power minus alpha z into 1 plus mode of gamma divided by v plus e power minus alpha z into 1 minus mode of gamma, right? So this is rho. So this v plus e power minus alpha z and v plus e power minus alpha z will get cancelled. So what we have is the final expression for rho voltage standing wave ratio is equal to 1 plus mode of gamma divided by 1 minus mode of gamma, right? The final expression is 1 plus mode of gamma divided by 1 minus mode of gamma, and mode of gamma will always be less than or equal to 1. So mode of gamma will always be less than or equal to 1. So this rho will always be greater than or equal to 1. Voltage standing wave ratio will always be greater than or equal to 1. Why? Because we have seen mode of gamma will always be less than or equal to 1. So this is rho in terms of, right, gamma. So now what will be gamma in terms of rho? We can easily find gamma in terms of rho will be rho minus 1 divided by rho plus 1, right? So gamma in terms of rho will be rho minus 1 divided by rho plus 1. But these two results I just wanted to discuss today, right? We won't discuss anything more than that, right? So, and what if you plot the value of rho versus okay, VSWR versus reflection coefficient, one plot if you do, right? Along this axis, this is VSW voltage standing wave ratio, and this is actually what reflection coefficient. This is rho, and this is magnitude of reflection coefficient. If you plot this, what graph you will get? I'll leave it as a question to you, right? You can see it up later, right? So this is about actually what reflection coefficient. So this is actually what voltage standing wave ratio in terms of magnitude of gamma, right? And this is reflection coefficient in terms of actually what voltage standing wave ratio. So you will use this, right? You will use this. So in lab, when you are doing the experiment, you will actually what use a probe, find actually what maximum voltage, minimum voltage. Using Vmax and Vmin, you will find rho, and from that rho, you will find actually what gamma, right? This is what you will be doing in one experiment, right? So please, these are all practical aspects which you can experience when you are doing experiments in lab. That's why even I've shown you a video, right? I've shown you simulation, even like MATLAB simulation. So we are see, right? So maybe we'll wind up that today. So there was a question in last year university exam. There was a question in last year university exam. That question goes like this, right? Z0 is given. No, Z0 is not given. ZL is given to be equal to 100 ohm, right? Then L is given and C is given, right? ZL is given, L is given, and C is given. You are asked to find out what is gamma and rho. You were asked to find out what is gamma and rho, right? Can you find out gamma and rho in terms of load impedance L and C? Can you find? So what are given us? With that, I'll just stop this session, right? Given ZL is given, right? L in Henry per meter is given, and C in Henry per meter is given. You have to find reflection coefficient at load and rho, or gamma and rho. How you will find? Okay, I'll just tell that we know we have studied Z0 will be equal to root of L by C, or else Z0 is actually what? Root of Z by Y, right? Z is actually what? R plus J omega L and G plus J omega C, right? Root of this. This R is equal to 0 and G equal to 0. So J omega gets cancelled. So it will become actually what? Root of L by C. So Z naught you can find that root of L by C, right? And gamma L will be actually what? ZL minus Z naught divided by ZL plus Z naught, right? And then you can find mode of gamma L as mode of this entire thing. Only magnitude you have to find, right? So then rho will be 1 plus mode of gamma divided by 1 minus mode of gamma. So this is one problem which was asked last time, right? Very straightforward problem. And yeah, I think that's it. Right, that's it for today. So what we have seen today is we have revised what we have seen in last class, right? Then we even saw a simulation. We verified what we have seen in last class using Imanim and MATLAB simulation, right? Then we have seen what is a pure standing wave, right? We have seen a pure standing wave. Then we have expressed a standing wave in terms of a reflection coefficient and reflection coefficient in terms of standing wave ratio. So we of course before that we have studied what is standing wave ratio. Standing wave ratio, right? It is a ratio of maximum magnitude of standing wave to minimum of standing wave, right? That is the ratio. So any doubt in this? If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. Now, please be frank. Right. How many of you got at least a little bit idea of this, what we have discussed today? Please. I'm not asking who didn't understand. Right. Any idea? So if I think I should ask someone. Maybe I'll ask Manish only. Manish, can you please unmute and tell what is your impression? What are the key takeaways from today's session? Right, no problem even if you're wrong. Right. Manish is there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, could you please unmute and tell? Or else you want to pass the question. You don't want to take up the question.
No, sir. No, sir.
You don't want to take up the question. So to whom you will pass? It's up to you. You can pass this question to someone whom you want of your class. Not to me back. Who do you want the
Dhanush,
question?
sir.
Dhanush.
Dhanush.
Okay, Dhanush. Okay, yeah. Dhanush, please take up the question. Your friend, your beloved friend has passed that question to you. Right, now it's your turn. Dhanush, please unmute.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to pass the question or take the question?
I will pass it, sir.
To whom you will pass? You can't pass it back to Manish. To someone else you can pass.
Neil Tauro.
Neil. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Neil. Right. Okay, now we are getting chain of enemies in your class. Right. I can trace back who all have enmity with them. Right. Yeah. So Neil, please unmute. Neil is there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now you don't have a option to what? Pass. Right. You have to answer what we discussed in today's session.
About that waves, like
Okay, standing wave. Like okay,
yeah, standing wave.
is it like
yeah.
how do you find this topic?
Medium, sir, like quite medium.
But of course, if you sit and study on your own once, you will be able to tackle it, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, okay, now you can pass your question to someone else, your friend.
I'll pass it to Melroy, sir.
Nilroy. Right. Okay, fine. We'll stop it there. Right. Anyway, next year you have class. So if you don't have any doubt, you can just right. Please do once again. You can type in your USN in chat window. Right. Of course, I'll be check in chat transcript. The answer which you have typed earlier will be there. Right. Right. Then after that, if you don't have any doubt, you can leave.